Hello dear students, today we will be talking about democracy. Democracy is the political ideology or it is a political philosophy that helps the governments to administrate the population. So what is the basic for a state? A state has a definite boundary. A state has a definite boundary. That means the boundaries are measured. It has a suitable population. That means there should be individuals living within that territory, and each and every individual will be under the subject of administration by an administrative authority. So that is what we call as a state. That is the basic essence of a state. A defined, well-defined boundary, population, and an administrative setup. So now we have our state. Now how will we administer the state? How will decisions be taken in this state? How will development occur in a state? Regarding this, there are various philosophies such as authoritarianism, democracy, etc., who give you a tool to measure and implement for the administration of the specific state. Now, democracy. What is democracy? It is a very popular term which we all use. Recently, the Republic of Balochistan said it will go forward and try to become a democratic country. Majority of the countries in our world are democratic in nature. Now, what is democracy? It is a ideology or philosophy, as you said, which is centered around individuals. Here, the individuals play a vital role in the administration of the state. In a sense, it is a type of self-rule. In the past, we had kings and his council who would rule the subjects, that is the people. Now, the king would not be selected by the subjects. The king would either be selected by battles, etc., or via heredity. That is, the children would inherit the kingship from their predecessor. But in democracy, it is completely different. Here, the ability to govern is in the hands of the individual. Here, each and every individual of a population has the right to put forth their ideologies on how a state should be governed. So, democracy is an individual-centric or a people-centric approach. Some people also call it as rule of majority. It is also called rule of majority. Why is it called a rule of majority? See, there is a basic ethical principle that says happiness of the majority is always preferred over the happiness of few. Say there are 10 people in which if you can garner the support of 6 or 7, if 6 to 7 people are happy with a decision, that means it is a perfectly viable option for the democratic principle. Here, the few voices of the minority in the ideological sense are being overruled by the majority. Therefore, democracy is also called as the rule of majority. Now, as we all know, it is impossible to satisfy everyone within a population because there are billions and billions of people within the country. Now, therefore, the principle of democracy, which is based on the broader principle of justice, is used. So, comparing to one king deciding the future or development of a country, comparing that to the individual, majority of the individuals deciding the future, it shows a sign of equity. So, therefore, democracy is a rule of majority. The popular American president called as Abraham Lincoln. See, there are no fixed definition for democracy. Every individual, every political thinker has their own view on democracy. But the essence of democracy is individual based, where people will govern themselves. So according to Abraham Lincoln, democracy is the government by the people, of the people, and for the people. These are the key points of Abraham Lincoln's definition of democracy. He says that a government should be by the people. That means the people have to elect their representatives. Thus, the people who will be ruling should be elected by the subjects, that is the population. It should be of the people. See, if there is a region X, see, region X has its own individual. The government should not be of any foreign entity. The best example was the British government. During colonial times, the government was not of India. It was the colonial government of the British, who sat in London dictating the future and the development procedures of India. So this is a key point, which says that the government should be of the people. That means the elected representative should also be from that specific region. First, the subject should elect the individuals who will be ruling. The elected representatives who are ruling should be from the same population. Now, the last key word is for the people. In the sense, the government or the ruling authority should focus its direction, should focus its developmental ideas or its administration for the people. They should make policies that are better for the, which are suitable for the population. Therefore, a government that is elected by the individuals, it is elected from the same group of individuals that reside in a country, and a government that works for the group of population within a country. Now, what is a government? See, every country has a government. So, what is the exact definition of a government? Government is the executive wing. Now, what are executives? Basically, there are two. When we look at a parliament, there are two components. That is the legislature, and the other one is the executive. It is the job of the legislature to formulate laws, whereas it is the job of the executive to execute said laws. So all the administration will be done by the executive wing, which is also called as government. Now, what is that executive wing? Is it just the popular party which is holding power in the union? No. See, executive wing is classified as the ministers. All the ministers and president. These strictly, the government is confined strictly to the ministers. There are various ministers and ministries in our country. All those ministers and the president will constitute to the government. And there is another important part. So we all know that government exists only for 5 years. On a normal day, the government will exist only for 5 years. So these becomes your temporary executives. These ministers or president, they are temporary in nature. As long as their party holds majority in the parliament, they will be in the executive wing. See, there might also be elected MPs which belong to the ruling party but are not ministers. They will not be considered as a government. Government is strictly applicable only to the ministers and the president of India. The next part is, this is the temporary part. Now, next is the permanent executive. In executive, there are two types. There are temporary executives, your ministers, etc. And there is a branch called as the permanent executives. Permanent executives are your government officials. Government officials who retire at the age of 60 years. These officials that support the temporary government, and they are called permanent because there is no change in the executive, permanent executive. Once nominated, once selected for that post, your IAS, IPS officers or your state service officers, all of them, they will fulfill their 60 years of administration. Therefore, they are called as the permanent executive. So, therefore, the government constitutes of two. That is the temporary executive and the permanent executive. So, now next, let us see the types of democracy. Democracy can be divided into two major types. First is the direct democracy. Next is indirect democracy. See, India, USA, UK, they are all an example of indirect democracy. We have Switzerland, that is an example of direct democracy. Your Panchayat Gram Sabha, that is also an example of direct democracy. Under direct democracy, the individuals will play a direct role in the legislation. Here, each and every individual will vote upon the laws. Say the government of Switzerland wants to bring in a new law. It will conduct something called as the plebiscite or referendum. Sorry, not plebiscite, it is called a referendum. Under this referendum, the government will refer to the population. Each and every individual within Switzerland who has crossed the age of 18 will be referred. That means each and every one will be personally asked for their opinion regarding the law. Now, every single person's opinion will be taken, and if it crosses a certain threshold of majority, the law will be implemented. This referendum can also be used for legislation. Here, the individuals themselves can ask the government to create a law. See, the government might have missed something, missed a certain area, let's say environment. Now, here in these countries which are under direct democracy, the people themselves can ask the government to make this and this law, so and so forth. So, this is how a referendum works. Now, the next major instrument in direct democracy is your recall. If a person, see here again the legislative power is given to the individuals. There will always be an executive, a select member who will execute the laws. If the individuals feel that an executive is not performing their role properly, they can exercise their right to recall. That means that person who is holding the ministry shall resign from that post. It is based on the satisfaction. If people are satisfied by the work of the minister, then only the minister will continue in power. If the individuals exercise their right to recall, the person has to resign. So this is a brief idea about direct democracy. In indirect democracy, see all these procedures that I told you, referendum and recall, it is suitable if there is a small amount of population. If there are few thousands of people, only then can you implement such a type of administration. But in countries where there are millions and billions of people, where there is a huge population, this direct democracy will become ineffective. It will not be feasible to use this method of administration. That is why we come up with a new type of administration that is called indirect democracy. The base for indirect democracy is the population, the entire population of the country will be divided into equal parts. The entire population, say 100, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Each, say there are 100 people living in a country. Each, the entire 100 population will be divided into constituencies of 10 people each. So this is what is called as constituency. These are regions that have similar or almost equal population amongst each other. So we have, what we have done is the 100 people that have been existing here are divided into 10 each, and each will become a constituency. So and forth. There will be 10 constituency. So what happens in an indirect democracy is these 10 people or the population of the constituency will vote for an individual. We all know all the entire population of India cannot sit in the parliament and participate in the legislative process. So therefore, we have divided India into various constituencies. Now, who will represent? Each constituency will be represented by one member, which we call as member of parliament. So each constituency will be having one member. Now, how will you elect that one member? You have, in India, we have multi-party system. There are political parties X, Y, and Z. There are various political parties in our country. Or you can also have independent candidates. So an individual will get their ticket from various parties. Say an individual A has got his ticket from X party. Individual B is independent. Independent in the sense there is no political party backing up. There we have another, therefore so on and so forth. There will be various candidates who will be contesting for a constituency. When elections occur, the people have to choose their representative. They can either go by the political ideology, where see each and every political party has its own ideology and manifesto. Based on that, people might vote a person, an individual candidates, even they have their own independent ideology and programs for betterment. Therefore, based on all of this, based on the popularity of all the contestants, one candidate will be representing these 10 people. So, in the sense, indirect democracy can also be called as representative democracy, where one person represents an entire population. The population is based upon the total population, which is divided. There is a mathematical formula to make constituencies. So one person who will represent the lakhs of people. Each and all the ideas and philosophies of these people will be represented by their member of parliament. If these people have any concern, this member of parliament is responsible to the constituency to put it forth in the parliament. So this is how indirect democracy works. In India, we mostly follow the indirect democracy, or it is also called as popularistic democracy, where the most popular person in the constituency is selected as the representative who will represent this population in the parliament. The parliament, etc., I will be teaching you in the future upcoming classes. Thank you.